Welcome to Jackie's Craft Table. Hello and welcome to my blog and YouTube channel. I'm creating a Thinking of You card using the beautiful hydrangea stamp set from Ellen Hutson. I love hydrangeas, especially the blue ones. There's just something so magical about a blue flower. I'm making my card base here, and it's going to be a side folding card, and I'm scoring it at 4 1/4. I wanted to get the coloring right on this card, so I looked at a lot of cardstocks for this project. And I ended up finding one called Blue Breeze by My Favorite Things. And I'm also using the coordinating Blue Breeze pigment ink. I'm going to use my Prismacolor colored pencils to color in this flower, and the stamp lines will blend in really well with my colored pencils. In places, I'll cover up the lines completely. When I showed my finished card to my husband, he thought I drew the flower myself, and I hated to tell him that it was a stamp image that I had colored in. I'm using my stamping press here, and I'm going to align my card to the grid lines on the stamping press and pick up my image. And then I'm going to be stamping that up with my pigment ink. Pigment ink takes a lot longer to dry than your dye inks do. And I chose the pigment ink because I thought it would blend and kind of smear in with the colored pencils as I was using the colored pencils on this image. It didn't smear and blend with the colors I was putting down, but the lines did disappear when I colored over them with some of the darker colored pencils. I really loved using this pigment ink. It left a very soft image behind, as you can see. I'm using my white colored pencil first to capture some of the lightest highlights on this image. I've sped up the video here because it did take me about an hour to color in this image. This is the color that I use the most. It's called Light Cerulean Blue 904. I only used 5 colored pencils to color in the bloom of this flower. The other 3 are Copenhagen Blue, number 906, Violet Blue, number 933, and Powder Blue to kind of blend everything together, number 1087. And for the stems and leaves, I used Grass Green, number 904, and Apple Green, 912. For the most part, I colored it in lightest to darkest, but there were some stems that I had to color in because I didn't want to lose them, and also some of the negative space, which I colored in with the Copenhagen Blue. I didn't want to lose that either. The colored pencil medium really lent itself well to this flower because hydrangeas are a very waxy flower, and they're also very veiny, and so I was able to capture that with these colored pencils. Sometime I'm going to create another version of this card, a pink hydrangea, and I've already found the paper I want to use. It's called Periwinkle, and I'll be using the coordinating pigment ink as well. Last spring I purchased a blue hydrangea for my garden, and it's starting to get warm here. The snow is all gone, and I'm just hoping that it survived the winter. We'll see here very soon. I'm hoping all is well with it, or I'm going to have to buy another one. For the sentiment for this card, I'm going to be using the Thinking of You stamp that came in this set. I didn't feel myself stamping the sentiment. For some reason, my camera decided to stop working at that point, but I just wanted to mention that I used dye ink for that. It's called Blue Ribbon from Ranger, and it matched my Copenhagen Blue pencil perfectly. It's almost like a navy blue color. But this image really lends itself well to any kind of sentiment that you'd like to use. I have the coordinating dies for the set, and it's going to be a lot of fun playing around with this stamp set and dies to see what I can come up with. I think I need to replenish my happy birthday cards. For the most part, I colored one blossom at a time just to keep track of the petals and which petals go with which blossom. I'm coloring in the stem and the leaf here, and as I mentioned before, I only used 2 colors on this. The apple green was the lighter of the 2 colors, and it made the leaf appear to be glowing or capturing the sunlight. After I finished coloring it, I decided to trim my card down and use a piece of striped pattern paper. It added a lot more interest to the card and matched the navy blue in the card and the sentiment. I'm just trimming it down to 5.5 by 4 1/4. And you'll just see the stripes peeking out from the top and the bottom of the card. Here I'm attaching the card to the striped pattern paper, and then I'm going to make a card base for this. I'm using the Nina Solar White 110-pound cardstock paper here. And I'm just attaching that to the card base. This has been a really fun card to create. I have the products that I used for this card linked below. You can also subscribe to my blog and YouTube channel if you'd like to be notified of other videos I make. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful week. Bye!